Hey, everyone, and welcome to a deep dive into the world of AI and cybersecurity.
It's a big world.
It is a massive world, and, we all hear about it.
We do.
But, it's changing so quickly, so we really wanted to take a deep dive into the latest research on this topic.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the technology itself, right? It's about the implications. How's it impacting our lives? How's it going to impact our lives?
And we have some fascinating research to share. Like, did you know AI can now write summaries of potentially malicious code?
That's pretty wild, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. And
quantum computing?
Oh, don't even get me started on quantum computing.
Right. It has the potential to just completely change the game.
That could break all of our current encryption methods.
It really could, yeah.
Yeah, so buckle up because things are about to get really interesting, and we have a great expert with us today. So
happy to be here.
To guide us through all of this.
Yeah, and just to kind of set the stage, a lot of people are curious about how AI is changing the cybersecurity landscape.
Yeah, for sure.
And, as you said, we've got this stack of research. One of the things that really stood out to me is this paper by Jörg-Owe.
Yes, Schneppat's work is really insightful.
Really insightful. He brings up some really interesting points about, not just the technical aspects, but also kind of the societal and ethical implications of AI in cybersecurity.
Definitely. And I think that's one of the things we really want to explore today. Like, what does it all mean?
Exactly.
For us as individuals, as businesses, as a society.
Yeah, stakes are high.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with a little bit of history.
Okay.
For those of us who haven't been fighting cybercrime since the days of dial-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did we even get here?
Right back in the day, it seemed like cybersecurity was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, you build a firewall, you keep the bad guys out.
Yeah, like a digital fortress.
Exactly.
That was kind of the mindset.
But obviously things have changed.
Right. Yeah.
So how do we go from firewalls and, kind of basic intrusion detection systems to the complex world we have today?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. Early cybersecurity, it really was all about perimeter defense.
Mm-hmm.
Building those walls, keeping the bad guys out.
Right.
Firewalls, intrusion detection systems, that was kind of state of the art.
Right.
But as our digital lives exploded,
mm-hmm.
So did the sophistication of the attacks.
Yeah.
Suddenly it wasn't just about, some teenager in their basement trying to break into a system.
Right.
We're talking about organized crime.
Yeah. Denim states.
Yeah. Sophisticated actors.
Highly sophisticated actors with resources and motivation.
Exactly.
And they're using all sorts of tools like malware, phishing, botnets.
Yeah, all this stuff we hear about all the time.
Exactly.
So suddenly building walls wasn't enough.
Not even close.
Okay, so that brings us to AI, right?
Right.
It seems like the game, like everybody's talking about AI and cybersecurity, so it is.
Why? What makes it so special?
Well, I think one of the key things is that, traditional methods, they're just not equipped to deal with the sheer volume and complexity of modern attacks.
Yeah, it's too much data for a human.
Way too much data. And it's not just the volume, it's the speed.
Right.
Things are happening so fast.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
A human analyst could spend days, weeks trying to sift through all that data.
By then, it's too late.
And by then, the damage is done.
Exactly.
But AI, it doesn't get tired. It doesn't get overwhelmed. It can analyze massive amounts of data in real time.
It's constantly learning and adapting.
Exactly. It's constantly learning. It's constantly looking for patterns,
Mm-hmm.
anomalies, things that humans might miss.
Yeah, it's like having a million eyes constantly scanning.
That's a great way to put it. It's like having an army of analysts working around the clock.
And that's what Schneppat talks about too, right?
Yeah, he emphasizes that in his research. He talks about how traditional methods, they're reactive. They're waiting for something bad to happen before they can respond.
Right.
But AI has the potential to be proactive.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Huge deal. It can analyze data, identify potential threats.
Before they happen.
Before they even happen.
That's incredible.
It's like having a crystal ball.
Almost, yeah.
You can see into the future and prevent those attacks before they even occur.
Okay, so instead of just guarding the gate, like the old firewall days.
Right.
AI is more like having a security system that learns and adapts.
Exactly. It's like an immune system for your digital life.
That's a great analogy.
It's constantly learning. It's constantly evolving to stay ahead of the threats.
So let's say a new type of malware emerges.
Right.
Something brand new that's never been seen before.
Right.
Can AI actually handle that?
It can. And that's one of the really exciting things about it. AI systems, they can analyze that new malware, understand its behavior,
right,
and develop countermeasures.
Much faster than humans.
Way faster than humans could. We're talking about minutes or hours.
Wow.
Versus days or weeks for traditional methods.
Okay, so it's not just about speed, it's about a deeper level of analysis.
It is. It's about being able to understand these complex threats.
And Schneepak gives an example in his paper, right?
He does.
About how AI detected an attack that traditional methods completely missed.
Yeah, he talks about this attack on a financial institution where the malware was designed to mimic normal user activity.
Oh, so it's like hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. It was blending in so well that the traditional security systems, they didn't even notice it.
Wow.
But an AI system that had been trained on a massive data set of user behavior.
Right.
It was able to detect these subtle anomalies.
Like little tiny things that were off.
Little tiny things that a human would never notice.
Wow.
But the AI picked up on it and it raised the alarm.
That's incredible. So it really is like AI can see things that we can't.
Yeah, it's giving us this whole new level of visibility into the threat landscape.
It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. It's really exciting technology.
Okay, so we've talked about threat detection, but what else is in this AI security toolkit?
Oh, there's so much.
I mean, what other ways is it being used to protect us?
Yeah, so threat detection is a big one.
Right.
But it's just the beginning. AI is being applied in all sorts of really interesting ways. One example is behavioral analytics.
Okay.
So imagine, AI building a profile of your normal activity on a computer network.
Right.
Or your phone or whatever it might be.
Right. So it's like learning what's normal for you.
Exactly. It's learning your patterns, your habits. And then if it sees anything that deviates from that.
Like suddenly you're downloading gigabytes of data at 3 a.m.
Exactly. It raises a red flag.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's like having a security guard that knows you personally.
Yeah. Like they know your routine.
Exactly.
And they know when something's off.
Exactly.
I like that. And then there's biometric authentication.
Yeah, that's another big one.
Using your unique biometrics for more secure logins.
Yep. Fingerprints, facial recognition, iris scanning.
All that stuff.
All that stuff. It's all powered by AI.
So it's like instead of remembering passwords.
Yeah, you are the password.
You are the password. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's much harder to fake.
I mean, I guess unless someone chops off your finger.
Hopefully we don't get to that point.
We'll try to avoid that.
Yeah. But yeah, so much more secure than traditional passwords.
That's great. And then there's also, you mentioned it earlier, automated vulnerability management.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So imagine AI constantly scanning your systems.
Right.
Looking for weaknesses, looking for vulnerabilities, things that hackers could exploit.
Right.
And then it prioritizes those fixes.
So it's like a tireless little worker bee just constantly going through.
Exactly. It never sleeps.
Yeah. Patching things up.
It's like having a dedicated security team.
Yeah.
Working around the clock to keep your system secure.
It's like having a million little IT guys in your computer.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And this is all happening now.
This is all happening right now.
It's not science fiction.
This is the reality of AI in cybersecurity.
So it sounds almost like AI is thinking for itself.
Bro.
Making decisions about our security.
It's easy to get carried away with that idea.
Right.
It's easy to think that AI is becoming sentient or something.
Like it's going to take over the world.
Right. Exactly. But the reality is...
It's a tool?
It's a tool. It's a powerful tool.
Right.
But it's still a tool.
We're in control.
We're the ones who are programming it.
Right.
We're the ones who are training it.
We're the ones who are giving it the data.
Exactly. It's all about algorithms and data analysis.
Okay, so speaking of data,
right,
that seems to be at the heart of all of this. AI needs data to learn.
It does.
To adapt, to protect.
Absolutely.
But what happens if that data isn't reliable?
That's a great question.
What if there are gaps or inaccuracies in the data?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges in AI development.
Really?
The quality of the data directly impacts the effectiveness of the AI.
So it's like garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly, garbage in, garbage out, even with something as advanced as AI.
So are there specific examples of this in cybersecurity?
There are.
I mean, have there been cases where AI has failed because of bad data?
Absolutely. There was a case where a facial recognition system.
Oh, yeah. Heard about this.
Yeah. Used by law enforcement was found to be less accurate in identifying people of color.
Right.
Why? Because the data set it was trained on was predominantly composed of images of white people.
So the biases in the data
were reflected in the AI's decisions.
That's a little scary.
Yeah.
It's a big concern.
But what about cybersecurity specifically?
Okay.
Are there examples of AI failures due to bad data in that domain?
definitely imagine an AI system designed to detect phishing emails.
Okay.
But it's trained on a data set of mostly harmless marketing emails.
Mm-hmm. So it's seen all these, like, get 50% off your next purchase kind of thing.
Click here to win a free iPad.
Exactly. And then suddenly it encounters a really sophisticated phishing attack.
Right.
That mimics legitimate communication from a bank or something.
Right.
It might struggle to identify that as a threat.
Because it hasn't seen enough examples.
Exactly. It hasn't been trained on the right kind of data.
Right.
So the AI's effectiveness is directly tied to the breadth and the quality of its training data.
Okay, so that makes sense. But then how do we ensure that the AI we're relying on for protection is trained on good data?
That's the million-dollar question.
I figured it was a tough one.
There's no easy answer. It's an ongoing challenge, but there are things we can do. We need to be more mindful of how we collect and curate data.
Right.
Ensuring it represents a wide range of scenarios and demographics.
So diversity in the data is really important.
Absolutely. Diversity is key.
Okay.
We also need to develop methods to identify and correct biases in existing data sets.
So like cleaning up the data?
Yeah, kind of like, fact-checking for AI.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it sounds like building reliable AI for cybersecurity is as much about the data as it is about the algorithms themselves.
It is. It's both sides of the coin.
That's really fascinating. And I think this is a great place to kind of pause for a moment.
Okay.
Because we've covered a lot of ground already.
We have?
We've talked about the evolution of cyber threats.
Yep.
The importance of data.
Yep. And kind of the basics of how AI is being used to protect us.
But there's so much more to explore.
So much more.
And I think in our next segment, we should really dive into some of the more cutting-edge stuff like quantum computing.
Oh!
Which Schneppad also talks about in his paper.
Definitely a game changer.
It sounds like it has the potential to completely upend everything we know about cybersecurity.
Yeah, it's both exciting and terrifying at the same time.
So stay tuned, because we're going to unpack all that in part 2 of our deep dive into AI and cybersecurity.
Looking forward to it.
All right, so we're back and ready to dive into some seriously mind-bending stuff.
Oh, cool. Ugh.
Yeah, because we're talking about quantum computing.
It's a wild ride.
It is a wild ride, and honestly, it still feels a little bit like science fiction to me.
I get that.
So can you break it down for us non-physicists, like what is quantum computing and why should we care about it in the context of cybersecurity?
Okay, so in the simplest terms I can manage quantum computers, they use the principles of quantum mechanics. Like superposition and entanglement.
Right, those things I vaguely remember from high school physics.
Yeah, exactly. And they use these principles to perform calculations in a completely different way than our traditional computers.
Okay, so they're not just faster. They're fundamentally different.
Exactly. It's not just about speed. It's about being able to tackle problems that are practically impossible for even the most powerful supercomputers we have today.
Okay, I'm intrigued. But how does that threaten cybersecurity?
Well, a lot of our current encryption methods, the things that protect our online banking or emails, all that stuff.
Right, the stuff we rely on every day.
Exactly. They rely on complex mathematical problems that are difficult for traditional computers to solve.
So it's like a digital lock.
Yeah, you can think of it like a lock, and the key is the solution to that mathematical problem.
And it takes a really long time for a normal computer to find that key.
Right. Even with a supercomputer, it could take years, centuries even.
So it's essentially unbreakable.
For all practical purposes, yes.
Okay, but then quantum computers come along.
And they change the game?
How so?
Well, because they can solve these problems much faster.
Like how much faster?
We're talking potentially exponential speed-ups.
So what would take a normal computer a million years?
A quantum computer could do it in a few hours, maybe even minutes.
So it's like having a master key that can unlock any door.
It's a scary thought.
That is scary.
Oh.
So what does Schneppad say about this?
Oh, he's definitely concerned. He calls it a potential cryptopocalypse.
A cryptopocalypse, that's a pretty dramatic term.
It is, but it kind of captures the magnitude of the threat. If quantum computers become powerful enough to break our current encryption methods,
right,
it could have a devastating impact on our digital world.
I mean, think about all the sensitive data that's out there.
Financial records, medical records, government secrets.
It would be like everything's suddenly open for anyone to see.
And Schneppad even suggests that some nation states could be hoarding encrypted data right now.
Like they're just waiting.
They're just waiting for the day.
Yeah.
They have a quantum computer powerful enough to decrypt it.
That's straight out of a spy thriller.
It is. It's a real concern.
Okay, so this is all pretty terrifying. But is anyone working on solutions?
Absolutely.
I mean, we can't just sit back and wait for this cryptopocalypse to happen, can we?
No way. Researchers around the world are already working on developing new encryption methods.
So like quantum-resistant encryption.
Exactly. Encryption that's specifically designed to be resistant to attacks from quantum computers.
Okay, so there's hope.
There's always hope. It's a race against time, but there are a lot of brilliant minds on the case.
That's good to hear. It seems like with every new technology, there's a potential for both good and bad.
Absolutely.
It's up to us to figure out how to harness the benefits while mitigating the risks.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and go back to AI.
Okay.
We were talking earlier about the importance of good data.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. But are there other challenges when it comes to using AI in cybersecurity?
There are a few.
I mean, earlier you compared AI to an immune system.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
It is a good analogy, but even our own immune systems can make mistakes, right?
That's true.
Sometimes they overreact to harmless things or miss real threats entirely.
Yep. Sometimes our bodies attack themselves.
Exactly. So could that happen with AI too?
It could, and it does. It's one of the challenges with AI, especially in cybersecurity.
What do you mean?
Well, there's the issue of false positives and false negatives.
Can you remind us what those are again?
Sure. So a false positive is when the AI flags something as a threat when it's actually harmless.
Okay.
Like your smoke detector going off because you burnt toast.
Annoying, but not a real fire.
Exactly. And then a false negative is the opposite and much more dangerous.
Okay.
That's when the AI misses a real threat. It's like your smoke detector failing to go off when there's an actual fire.
Oh, wow. That's a scary thought.
It is, and it's something we need to be very careful about.
So how do we prevent those false negatives? I mean, a missed cyber attack could be devastating.
Right. Well, it's a constant balancing act.
Okay.
We need to train AI systems on a wide range of data, both benign and malicious examples.
So it can learn to tell the difference.
Exactly. And we need to constantly update those systems as new threats emerge.
So it's a continuous learning process.
It is. It's like a never-ending education for the AI.
Always adapting to the evolving landscape of cyber threats.
The cybersecurity landscape is constantly shifting.
Yeah, it's like a digital arms race.
It is. The attackers are always coming up with new tricks, new ways to exploit vulnerabilities.
And the defenders are trying to stay one step ahead.
Exactly. It's a constant game of cat and mouse.
Okay, so are there any areas where AI is already making a real... I've heard of them. They use something called an enterprise immune system, right?
That's right. It's a pretty cool concept.
So how does it work?
Well, instead of relying on predefined rules like traditional security systems, Darktrace's AI system learns the normal behavior of a network.
Okay.
And then it flags anything that deviates from that pattern.
So it's like having a security guard who knows everyone in the building.
Exactly.
And can spot an intruder right away.
Exactly. And they've had some impressive successes.
Really?
They were instrumental in preventing a major attack on a large e-commerce company.
Wow.
The AI detected suspicious activity related to a new type of malware that traditional security systems had never seen before.
So it's already out there stopping attacks that would have slipped past our defenses.
It is, and this is just the beginning. As AI continues to evolve, we can expect to see even more innovative applications in cybersecurity.
So the future is looking pretty AI-powered.
It is, and that brings us back to quantum computing.
Oh, right, because we were talking about it as a threat.
Right, the cryptopocalypse.
But could quantum computing also be used to enhance cybersecurity?
It could.
Right, so it's not all bad.
Not at all. Like any powerful technology, it can be used for good or for evil.
Okay, so how could quantum computing be used for good in cybersecurity?
Well, one area where it could be particularly beneficial is in the development of truly unbreakable encryption methods.
Unbreakable encryption, is that even possible?
It might be. There's a concept called quantum key distribution, which utilizes the principles of quantum mechanics to create encryption keys that are theoretically impossible to intercept or decrypt.
So it's like quantum encryption to fight quantum hacking.
Exactly. It's still in the early stages of development. But it holds enormous promise for creating a new era of secure communications.
So quantum computing could be the key to unlocking a future where our data is truly safe from prying eyes.
It has the potential, but it also comes with its own set of challenges.
Like what?
Well, quantum computers are still very much in their infancy.
Right.
And there's a lot of work to be done before they become widely accessible and practical for everyday use.
So it's a long road ahead.
It is, but it's an exciting road full of possibilities.
It sounds like the future of cybersecurity is going to be a fascinating mix of AI and quantum computing.
It is.
With both technologies playing critical roles in shaping how we protect ourselves in the digital world.
Absolutely. And as we move forward, it's crucial that we approach these technologies with a balance of optimism and caution.
Right. We need to be realistic about the potential risks.
Absolutely. We need to embrace the potential of these technologies
While
also being mindful of the risks and working to mitigate them.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part, you mentioned earlier that Schneppat was concerned about nation-states hoarding encrypted data.
Yeah, it's a chilling thought.
It is, what can we do to protect ourselves from these kinds of threats?
Well, it's not just about governments and organizations. Individual awareness and action are incredibly important as well.
So what can individuals do?
There are practical steps everyone can take to enhance their own cybersecurity things, like using strong, unique passwords.
Right. Don't use password 123.
Exactly. And be cautious about what information you share online.
Right. Don't post your social security number on Facebook.
Exactly. And keep your software updated.
Okay. Those are all good reminders. Sometimes it feels like we're powerless against these sophisticated attacks.
I know what you mean.
But it's good to know that there are things we can do to protect ourselves.
There are. And remember, knowledge is power.
That's a great point. The more we understand about the threats,
the better equipped we'll be to stay safe in the digital world.
Well said. Okay, so I think this is a good place to pause for a moment. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the mind-blowing world of quantum computing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It is to the practical steps we can all take to protect ourselves.
It's all connected.
It is. And in our final segment, I think we should bring it all together.
Sounds good.
Talk about the big picture, the future of cybersecurity in a world where AI and quantum computing are becoming increasingly intertwined.
I'm ready.
All right, so stay tuned for part 3 of our deep dive into AI and cybersecurity.
Right.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive, and I'm really excited to kind of bring it all together.
Me too. It's been a wild ride.
It has. We've talked about so much, the evolution of cyber threats, the rise of AI, the mind-blowing potential of quantum computing.
And everything in between.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now I want to step back and look at the big picture. You know, what does all of this mean for the future of cybersecurity?
It's a big question.
It is a big question, and I think one of the things that Schneppat really emphasizes in his work is that cybersecurity is no longer just about protecting data.
Right. It's about so much more than that.
Exactly. It's about protecting our way of life.
Our digital lives are so intertwined with our physical lives now.
Yeah, it's like the lines are blurring.
They are. Everything is connected.
So what does he mean by that, like protecting our way of life?
Well, think about how reliant we are on technology for everything these days.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, communication, finance, transportation, healthcare, energy.
It's all interconnected and increasingly vulnerable to cyber attacks.
So a cyber attack isn't just a digital inconvenience anymore.
No, not at all. It could have real-world consequences.
I mean, we've seen examples of this, right?
We have attacks on power grids causing blackouts, attacks on hospitals, disrupting patient care, attacks on transportation systems, causing chaos and delays.
Yeah, it's scary stuff, and it seems like the potential impact is only going to grow as our reliance on technology continues to increase.
Absolutely. The stakes are higher than ever.
So how do we even begin to address this challenge?
Well, I think it starts with a shift in mindset. We need to move beyond this idea of just building walls and defending perimeters.
Right, because the attackers are always going to find a way over the wall or under the wall or through the wall.
Exactly. We need to create adaptable, resilient systems.
Okay.
Systems that can withstand attacks, recover quickly, and minimize the impact on people's lives.
So it's about being proactive rather than reactive.
Exactly. It's about anticipating threats and building in safeguards from the ground up.
Okay, and AI can play a big role in this, right?
Absolutely. AI has the potential to revolutionize how we approach cybersecurity.
So how so?
Well, imagine AI systems that can not only detect and respond to attacks in real time,
Right.
but also predict and prevent them from happening in the first place.
So it's like AI is becoming the security guard.
It's like having a million security guards all working together, constantly scanning, constantly analyzing, constantly learning.
That's where quantum computing comes in too, right?
Well, potentially.
Because it could give us the ability to create unbreakable encryption.
It could, if we can figure out how to harness its power safely and effectively.
Right, because we've talked about the potential risks of quantum computing as well.
Absolutely. It's a double-edged sword.
So how do we navigate all of this?
carefully.
That's a good answer. I think one of the things that I've really taken away from this deep dive is that the future of cybersecurity is not just about technology.
It's about people.
It's about people. It's about making smart decisions about how we develop and deploy these powerful technologies.
It's about having a clear understanding of the risks and benefits and being willing to have open and honest conversations about the ethical implications.
Yeah, like Schneppat talks about, we need to think about the broader societal impact of all of this.
Absolutely. It's not just about protecting data. It's about protecting our values, our freedoms, our way of life.
Well said. And I think that's a great place to leave it, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of AI and cybersecurity.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has, and I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore.
There is. But hopefully we've given our listeners a good foundation to start thinking about these issues.
And to keep asking questions.
Because the conversation doesn't end here. This is just the beginning.
The future of cybersecurity depends on all of us being informed and engaged.
So stay curious, stay vigilant, and keep learning.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.